paid $500 for her booth, but she had extended booth space and multiple items. But what we noticed was there were some people that went and ate, but a lot of people ate previously and then came to the event. And so that's something we need to look at on how we could make that work. Last year being its first year, we didn't know how many people we were going to have, and I actually had 11 food vendors, and they all lost money. That's why it was hard this year for the first two months to get any food vendors to jump on. Then I went back and talked to some of them that I worked with in the past for other events and said, look, help me, I need food vendors. And, well, you can't charge us the same amount. No, I'll work with you. And then and at the same point, well, but you can't have 12 food vendors or 11 food vendors. And I was like, well, we'll limit it, you know. But even limiting it to 5 food vendors and 1 dessert vendor, nobody made money. And so that's, anytime you do these events, you want everybody to make money. I mean, yes, they all know it's a risk, but just so people understand, cost in running a food booth is approximately $1,700 at any event, because you have to pay a fee to the event, you have to pay a permit fee. Some counties are different than others on how much, but then you actually have to buy all your supplies and all the food and pay for the people that come and do it. The Lions Club, they had 12 staffers. They didn't have to pay for them, but still they were only selling cotton candy and popcorn. But they, you know, we didn't charge them as much because of what they're selling. But we want everybody to try to make money. We had half of our vendors are local and half were from San Antonio. Okay, but we want to work on that for them. But overall, yes, it was a wonderful event. There's always hiccups in any event. It's just it's the job of the organization doing the event is to making sure that the people that are attending it don't know that there were ever hiccups. And I think we succeed in that. Communication. I could have better communication with Tom and staff, and I think vice versa. But I'll say this, once again, the event couldn't have happened without everybody's being around, helping out. John and Mr. Gleason sitting outside of Walmart selling pre-sale tickets. We didn't sell many, but the advertising was great. A lot of people, we got to get a vibe from people. There was a lot of people saying, oh, we already got our tickets, or oh, we know about it, we're going to be there.
Well, it's hard to compete against the Girl Scouts.
And the Girl Scouts were right next to us. That little girl was selling the heck out of her.
They sold a lot of stuff.
Against them. They were pretty good salesmen over there.
And that's another thing that I would see that help for next year, especially from the local folks, is finding 10 people to go find 2 locations each, additional pre-sale locations to sell more tickets. I think, you know, just trying to get that out there a little bit more. That's important. But some other things that we just need to look at are just the way our vendors, our craft vendors, food vendors pay, how they pay, how we're keeping track of things. It was a little different. It was harder. There was growing pains this year just because I'm not a full-time employee for the city of Floresville anymore. So I was here to babysit every single aspect of every little thing last year. Ches wasn't involved last year, so he's learning on the fly. And Monica Valise has a job to do besides helping do finance to this particular event. And so some pre-planning on that a little bit more, vetting out some things on the processes. But there's, like I said, there's always some controlled chaos in event planning, and we had that, but it always happens. But I want to tell all of y'all congratulations on the community coming out, because when you still look at it, we have anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 people in this community, and when you can get 1,300 or 1,400 of them to come out to an event, that's pretty awesome. But I think we have, for me as an event person, I would always want to set higher goals for attendance for next year and see how we could do that.
Any questions?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, a couple of them. First of all, and if you addressed this before in a different meeting, I just didn't hear it. But one of the items on with the FEDC is they said that they donated, they kicked in $8,000 towards the fireworks, but that the sponsorships that Richardson Brothers paid for it. What happened there?
I was always in communication with Tommy Baker, and a month and a half prior to me ever presenting to the FEDC, I had reached out to Tommy, telling them that we would like for them to come on board once again as our title sponsor. FEDC was our title sponsor last year, and we wanted them to come on again as our title sponsor. During our meeting with them, that Henrietta and I both presented to them, they asked us what we were going to do with the money. You know, what were we going to do with the money? And it was made mention by Henrietta and myself that a large portion of that money we would use to purchase the fireworks, because fireworks cannot be purchased out of hotel motel tax dollars. Okay, and that's what we would be using, some of that money, some of the San Antonio River Authority money, any sponsor money that came out that we could get in to help pay for that upfront money to the fireworks, the $8,000. But I spoke to Mr. Baker again earlier today, and he acknowledged to me that I talked to him about coming in as the same sponsor as last year. For that amount of money that we ask, I want to make sure that they're getting the most exposure, and being that title sponsor, it was a big deal.
When will the final report be done, and the complete revenue and expenses?
My final report, I'll be sending over to the city probably tomorrow. Just like any other business, there's still accounts receivables coming in from some of our sponsors, and but we know what's been guaranteed or promised, and so it's just more of just populating those numbers.
Well, the last one is that throughout the day, I got various calls about wanting to know what time events were.
Yeah.
And there was no schedule posted anywhere that we could find. So just some information for next year is that
Yeah,
the
that was a big
marketing
one.
needs to kind of step up a little bit.
Right. The only place we really had that out was in the Wilson County News, and then on our social media. It was made mention to me that it wasn't on the city's website, and we would work on that to make sure it was on the city's website next year. Other than that, I'm not sure where else we could get it out there.
Well, just for work at the gate, just for my own, people would come up and ask me what was
Maybe
on.
we could
I
print
didn't know.
programs.
Yeah.
Some one-pagers.
Or you
kind
just
of
have,
flyers.
a
Flyers.
big, like a sandwich board
Yeah.
out front.
Yeah,
with it all
we
on
have
it.
one by the stage, and probably just putting one towards the front
Yeah.
would help.
That'd be good. Couple places really, so.
Mhm.
I had a lot of people ask me when they come up to the gate, say, are the cars still here?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Or are this group still here? And things like that. And some came to the watermelon eating contest, but they mystified.
Right.
And their grandkids were there, so their grandkids could have told them at the right time, but they didn't get there. And so, yeah, that's something we could do a little bit.
Maybe some sort of program, and I'll be honest with you, if we do a program, maybe that's a way to monetize a little bit with the smaller local businesses. Is, hey, you want to be on our program? That it's more of a $25 fee instead of that $200.
Sure.
You know what I mean? To get people in there in the advertising way. There's ways to look at that.
I also think the vendors, we had some of them pull out really early in the day. And I think they missed their best opportunity. There were a lot of people that would get hot and tired outside around 5:30, 6 o'clock, whatever, and they come in here then, and a lot of the vendors were gone. And so most of the cars were gone by 6
Yeah, they
or
were saying they were
7 o'clock.
going to leave, yeah.
Yeah, and so I think some of them hurt themselves, the vendors hurt themselves with that because they weren't here at the time that some of the people were looking for them.
Or staggering the times where people could hear.
Yeah.
Right.
Having shifts.
Well, I agree that there are growing pains. I mean, this was the second year that we've done this. We committed a couple of meetings ago about all agreeing that this we're gonna commit to an annual
Sure.
event. Thank goodness Richard Coombs didn't have his event, which helped us immensely, but moving forward, now that we are establishing a history and we see the hits and misses, you know, we just keep building on that. And since Mr. Rivera set a template for the event that Jess can build on and we can all partake in, and I think that's just gonna make things better as we keep going forward. I mean, yeah, we're gonna have some bumps in the road. There's gonna be some issues that we're gonna encounter, and, you know, did a fantastic job, especially mentoring Ches along the way. You know, he's got a lot to build on, but obviously it was still a success in many, many ways. So
Yeah.
I think, you know, consider what you were up against with the
I
short
would like to see us
timeframe.
commit,
Did a
right,
fantastic job.
if not this meeting, next meeting, to next year, and say, and pick a date, and then let's start this thing moving now.
Yeah,
you
I think
know,
we do that next month, is just have that.
I think we have to start, you know, I know anytime you talk to people like, the Super Bowl, the bowl games thing, they're out there planning 3 years in advance. And we need to be in that vanguard. We need to let people know that this is going to happen again, and we're gonna be here, we're gonna have certain types of events. If we started advertising this thing in January, everybody would know it by the time we get here to the 30th of July or
It's
whatever.
just, it's like anything, that you constantly getting in front of people's faces so they know that that's what they gotta set aside.
Right.
Well, as Tony stated, you know, if you've got sponsors that are willing to start committing in October, I mean, that's just gonna give you a complete, you know, jumpstart on a lot of things to be able to do, especially if you get that money early, to be able to commit to certain things that we wanna add to the event to make it even better. Especially if
Especially if you get your commitments. I mean, some people aren't gonna be able to get you the money early,
Mhm.
but they're gonna budget it.
Right.
Sure.
Budget.
When you know what you got going on with that, then you kind of know what you could spend on. Like this year, I spent less on entertainment this year to make sure that I was going to be covered.
Mhm.
You know, that, because knowing that we wanted to, first of all, break even. But when you have those commitments in already, it sure does help the planning. We may have, we needed to reach out to our community partners, FEDC being one of the first ones, is reaching out to them to see if they still want to be involved. I know that it was a give and take with FEDC. They weren't really sure if they wanted to be involved this year. I can say this though, doing my research on other 4th of July events in the area is just like Leon Valley, not too far from us. They put on a free 4th of July event that is paid for 50% by the city and 50% by their EDC. Because their and I talked to the head of their EDC and I said, well, why do y'all do it? And he says, it's business. We have to support the community. And I said, okay. I just wanted to see where they were at with that. Kerrville, same way. But just so you know, that event planning thing is, this week, 3 New Year's Eve events in San Antonio and surrounding areas started their advertising this week for New Year's Eve, so 6 months out. Kind of the same thing with a 4th of July. You know, early bird gets the worm, and when the sponsors sure do love it when they can have it on their budget instead of something popping up.
But the date's really gonna be, important. Are you gonna have the events on the 4th of July, or are we gonna have it in June? Because it would be the Saturday, that June 28th.
Or
It's
30th.
definitely the 30th. And so, because of the event center and we're picking up weddings and other kind of activities, I need to block out that day and a couple of days
Several
prior
days.
to that.
Mhm.
Because last year we were competing with somebody's wedding on that Friday night, so we couldn't start things
Jeez.
early enough. So we need to block out, our times so we can start prepping. And so if it's in June, it's in June, which is my bride time, or are you gonna go for the day itself?
Maybe we ought to do like the Peanut Festival does, and say it's the first, or the immediate Saturday immediately before 4th of July, or the Saturday immediately after, whatever. But just that way, it's the same time
Whatever falls
every
closer.
year. And whichever one falls closer, you know that Saturday's gonna be blocked out. But I think Saturday's the only night you can really do it effectively, because people have to go to work, as you said, and things like that. And some people just like to have a chance to breathe and relax a little bit too. So, but I think we ought to consider maybe having it like that rather than saying the 4th of July.
So what did the surrounding communities do?
I was just going to ask that.
You know, majority of all, I'd say 90% of all surrounding communities had it on the 4th of July.
Yeah, that's what I saw, that's what.
Okay, that also loosens it up on certain bands, on the fireworks guy, you know, we get a little bit more leeway on securing him, you know, those kind of things. But this being 4th of July being smack dab in the middle of the week, you might have some people second guessing and saying, maybe we should have it on the weekend before. I wouldn't want to take the chance, I mean.
And then, of course, you know, we had staff, and staff did work and pay, so if you have it on the holiday, and they're working on the holiday, then you're talking double time, not time and a half, because it's on the official holiday.
And then my other question, and I'm sure Henrietta probably doesn't have the answer to that, but would it be like, can some of the monies that was raised this year be used already to make the deposit for your fireworks for next year, so you're not? No? Okay.
No. Autism Center, no. We spent 2 hours in this room doing autism, and they do every year segmented. So any funds I receive this year, unless it's earmarked or something dedicated to it, then we have to make sure we swing it. So I wouldn't want to receive any checks after October 1, so that we could be able to do that. But
Okay.
I do have to say, you know, I had a really good time. I came, left, went home, came back.
You were one of those ones that went home and ate, came back?
I had to go home and lay down. this Texas heat is way too much for me.
I had to go home and freshen up. I was like,
Yeah, I had to go home and, you know, take off the blouse and let it dry off. But I did enjoy the social media part of it, because I was on Facebook, you were on Facebook, and so it's kind of like, well, let me get back up there and see, because I could see it on Facebook. So I think the Facebook helped a lot, and we could definitely get ahead of the game and put it out there and put the time in, advertise more. But we did not have it all last year, any Facebook presence at all.
But we were just building it.
And then, and even on our website as well. So we can definitely take care of that programming thing and put that out there. But it was fun, it was enjoyable. I think just to say, here's a time for the court to speak, or here's a Wallowing contest kind of thing. Because I had some elected officials who called me and go, they didn't want to miss that, but they didn't miss it. So, but you know, those are, like you said, things that we have to figure out and go. I think the kids zone was really enjoyable. And we used the whole building for, you know, we're trying to protect the gym, and so we used the whole thing available. So I think that was nice for people to see. Because when they said she didn't know, and as I was saying, you know, just to be a mama in this heat with a baby in a stroller and sit there and go, okay, 2-year-old, go at it. You know, they didn't just jump around until he's crazy and tired. Was in the air conditioning was really an advantage. So I think you're right, Mr. Gleason, that some of the vendors missed out on that late wave crew because they were already gone, and they were
A lot of the older
lucky.
people, for instance, you know, they don't like to come at 2 o'clock because it gets so hot. And a lot of your older people who would buy things at the vendors came in at 5:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30, and, you know, the vendors were gone.
So our starting time can be a little different, so we have to test the crowd and see
Yeah, we
that.
did start 2 hours earlier this year than last year. Last year we started at 2.
Are you here for the Corey meeting?
I'm looking for the annexation meeting.
Oh, excuse me.
Last year the event started at 2. This year we started at noon. Last year the event ended at 10. This year it ended at midnight. Why? Last year we had it on a Sunday. We wanted to make sure it was ending early just because Monday, you know, people got things to do. And we started at 2 last year because we want to make sure everybody went to church. And so we try to be as conscious of everybody's needs and everybody's, but even if we did it on a Saturday next year, maybe we start at 2. It saves us 2 hours of volunteer time, of paid time, of band time, of everything. And who says you can't end it at 11 instead of midnight? It's about playing with those numbers here a little bit and seeing how it could best serve you. But you have choices. That's good.
Well, you know, my 2 youngest are Leo's club. They were out here, and they were out here all day, all night. I don't even know how they took it because of the heat. But, and even my youngest boy, he's still wearing his red band, as gross as that is. He wants to show everybody at school when he gets back that he went to Freedom Fest.
Well, tell him we can get him another one right
I
now.
told him that. I said, please take that off. But, one thing I wanted to do before, one thing I wanted to do before we wrap up the topic was I'd like to hear a little bit from Ches about his experience, because, I mean, I guess that it's gonna be passed on to you, or, I mean, that was the goal.
Mhm.
I just wanna find out what your take was on the whole process, because it is a big, I mean, hey, that's a big job that he took on.
Yeah, we talked, me and Bill talked before, it's just like we said, every year there's gonna be a little tweaking here and there,
Sure.
all the time. I mean, as long as we make it a successful event. A lot of the subjects that we talked about already touched on, I mean, like starting the leader, or having that younger generation come out during the day, and that's what we try to do with the volleyball tournament and the washer tournament. At that midday, we had, just on the volleyball teams, 80 people alone right there, plus their families and friends, whoever came to watch, and they stayed out here from 1 o'clock all the way to 8 o'clock at night, and a lot of them went home, showered, came right back. So, you know, it was just the commitment they had to be at this event, you know, which was really awesome, you know. That too, and then, I mean, we can't expect too many people because we're running out of room,
Yeah.
really, so.
The dancing was more this year.
Yeah, the dancing, we had a lot more people dancing, that's why I heard there was more dancing, because we moved the stage on the other side, so it was really nice. And then fireworks, like you said, we moved it closer, and nobody had to turn. It was just straight up in the air.
That's great.
It was just, I mean, it was good. I mean, learning what Tony did all last year, it just makes it a lot easier, because he already set the bar for us all.
That's good.
We do, it was just, like I said, a little tweaking here, having the car show leader, getting them here at a certain time, because, you know, you're gonna have those 1 or 2 people with the fumes and everything leaving, coming in and out.
Oh, yeah.
But,
And then the band, I think the headline band probably didn't get as many people to see as much, because when the fireworks were done, everybody was leaving, so maybe the headline, the big money band, when they finish, then the
Fireworks,
fireworks, and
yeah.
then it's about done. You can stay and dance if you want, because there was one lady out there, I wonder when she was drinking, she was dancing every song.
and then we went to
Maybe
the
she
side of the
wanted to be more
building.
beat people, because she was out there.
And it's just a way to get those people inside the gates, like we were talking, I was talking to Tony, I walked to the side of the building, and there was about 60 cars on the side. On that far side of the building, there was cars everywhere ready to watch the firework display. So, you know, and then there were.
Mr. Ullman had about 60 cars in his field over there.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was a good turnout, whether they were inside the gates or they weren't. Community still came out to the event center to enjoy the show.
And that's why I think it's hard to say that we had fewer people. I think we had, my judgment, when I left here thinking we had as many or more.
I'm with you.
I looked at my film that I'd taken the year before and compared with what you had taken that snap right there, and we had more this year than we had last year. Now, some of them got in the gate different ways, and that's fine with me. But I think we had more people actually.
And I think it showed at the concession stand. I mean,
Yeah.
alone.
And I don't know why it didn't show up in the ticket.
Well, we may want to have a better counting system on that, too, so that we can get track our numbers, but.
Yeah, because
That's
there's a lot of
another thing
people
to talk
coming
about.
in and stuff
Right,
like
I
that.
mean, it's still it's not scientific counting, but I mean, like, the box of ticket stubs we took in here that night and, you know, counted them manually, and I was like, Monica, it's crazy. And she's like, what? And I go, 697 tickets can do the freaking.
But you go out there, you couldn't hardly walk.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It
it's
did-
pretty
I was-
high.
Yeah, and so, we'll see on that, but.
There's just a lot of stuff to talk about, like, do we even want to do pre-sale and just charge everybody $5 at the gate?
Yeah.
And then you block off, and we really wanted to do it from the beginning, was block off, for nobody can walk outside, they have to come to the facilities inside and see what was going on inside, and just block it all off where they had to enter the building, you know?
Having them come through the building and then go outside, rather than having just be able to sidetrack and.
Right, we wouldn't be able to block it off, but we'd have to have a volunteer or an officer stand
Well,
there.
just have a barricade there where they were
And
routed
force
into the
them to come
building.
here, and then they could go out.
And then they
Yeah.
could go out either side or
Right.
out through the ballroom.
That helps your vendors in there, too.
That helps your
The
vendors.
ATM was in the right place.
I'd love to find out, and I'll have Monica should check on that, is how many transactions they did, because they may They were the best vendor at all day.
She emailed me back and said, when you're ready again, Henrietta, just let me know.
Yeah,
Because it didn't charge us anything, we didn't have to rent it. The deal is they come and put it down and then they'll come and take it away. So. and they
$3.50.
did.
Yeah,
And
transaction.
so,
Transaction, they-
she said, when you're ready again, just
People
let me
pay.
know.
Yep.
So, like, actually, we should just.
What was
follow
the,
it.
what was the entertainers' take on the event?
Oh, they liked it. I mean, you know, they all know the earlier, the hotter, the less people are gonna be dancing, things like that. But, two of the groups actually hired the sound company to be their sound guys for 2 other shows after the event. We had one band that was a little unruly, but
I think that's part.
but the entertainment was good. Something I always told Henrietta was 2 years ago is, any event we do, we have to have all types of music, all inclusive. And we had that. And that's, I think, all you could really ask for, is to include as many people from the entire community and their likes.
We have to work on maybe getting some lighting, because when it got dark, and some of the vendors trying to see, you know, maybe we wanna have some other, because there was pretty lighting over here, you know, toward close to the building, but the vendors they're back to the owner's property. We may think about there maybe some temporary lighting that we can turn off very easily.
Oh,
when
for
it's
the
time
food
for
vendors?
Yes.
That's something we could work
Yeah,
out.
But everybody looked like they were having fun, and it was like, you know, go down this row, and again, I went out there and talked to the guy from the train and thanked him so much, and he said he'd like to bring back a fire truck. And
Mr. Callis.
Yes.
J.C. Callis.
It was easy for him because he had to collect anything, you know, the kid could just ride till they got tired of riding. And so that was nice, and I really appreciate the council supporting that, to say that we want to be able to have that here and have something for the kids to be fun.
Was the lighting you're talking about, like a proximity lighting around each of the vendors, or could they do it something like strung party lights across there?
I think we need a little bit something more stronger, because
Yeah.
they were trying to count.
Got it,
It was just a little too, you
Okay,
know.
makes sense.
Yeah, because when it got dark, when it finally got dark in summer, then everyone's like, oh, yeah, so it was that dusk dark was really nice, you could see. But then when it started getting dark, when I
Sure.
got up to the fireworks, it was kind of hard to see. But that wasn't,
Sure.
but it was good.
A year and a half ago, we spent $6,500 on that oak tree. And I'm gonna tell you, that oak tree, the value of that oak tree, if you went to that event, is way more than $6,500. Without that oak tree, I mean, keeping that oak tree healthy is everything to probably this facility.
Yeah, we spent a total of actually $10,000 with the 4A attendant, because when we had to have the gentleman come out and check it, then we had to move the pavers and put the
Right.
fencing in and those kind of things, so we wanted to make sure the roots were there. But we did age that tree, they did mark it at 500 years, and they estimated 450 for the one in the park.
And you won't imagine how many people ask me, or sometimes will say, I saw some dead branches on that oak tree. Well,
You're concerned.
yeah, they're concerned about it. And I think that's something that people notice on the tree.
500 years, tell it to be.
There's some big old trees in this town.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Thank you for your hard work.
Yep,
Thank you.
I agree.
I'm glad, I was confident it would be a success, but it's always better when you see the people smiling that actually came.
Well, I think we provided something worthwhile for the community.
Yep.
And still did it on a profitable basis, and that's what beautiful.
And it's just gonna keep growing and getting better.
Yep.
Right. And let's get started on it. Let's set a date at our next meeting and get started on it. And Chaz, that way you can get you cranking on what you need to do, sponsorship wise and stuff like that. Anyone else? have-
I'm sorry, you want that to be an agenda item for
Yes,
August?
please put that as an agenda item for us. Is that okay with everybody?
Fine with me.
Okay. And that way we get a running start, and we have a timetable, and we know what we're doing. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay.
Ms. Turner, I'll send you an email with,
The one that's,
yes, and slideshow,
Okay.
slideshow that stuff.
yes, thank you, Tommy, I appreciate it.
Okay, we'll move on then. And again, thank everybody for the help that they gave. Brief by the city manager and discussion about progress of parks project and water line construction.
Okay, if I could start with the water line construction, the council has approved, the final change order, and they are going to be mobilizing actually on Monday. So you start the activity and see the activity Monday for the construction out there. They're gonna give me a, report